All right, for more perspective, we want to bring in Nolan Higdon, a professor at UC Santa Cruz. Professor, thank you for taking the time this afternoon. Let's talk about the impact that Charlie Kirk had, obviously very young, just 31 years old. How influential was Kirk in the conservative movement, especially in terms of reaching young people in this country?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, Charlie Kirk was a very influential content creator, someone who really understood kind of the new digital media environment, knew how to garner attention, knew how to make spectacles that would draw in crowds that could then be turned into videos that would get a lot of attention online. And he really pioneered a lot of the techniques that folks are emulating now in the political new media space. His success brought him all the way up to some of the highest people in power, including President Donald Trump. So his short time here on Earth, he was very successful in terms of creating content, creating attention, and getting the ear of those in power.
Yeah, I mean, he was a close ally of President Trump. I mean, spending even some one-on-one time with President Trump. What do you make of that, especially from such a young man?
Well, I think Donald Trump, in both of his campaigns, the 2016 campaign and 2024 campaign, relied very heavily on these online influencers. And Charlie Kirk was certainly one of these content producers. And so it was a pivotal part of the success of Trump electorally to be aligned with these folks in general and Charlie Kirk in particular. So I don't think you can really tell the story of Donald Trump's success without the folks online like Charlie Kirk.
Obviously, the exact motive for this shooting today remains unclear, and that'll be part of the broader investigation. But we did hear the governor of Utah a short time ago referring to this as a political assassination. From your standpoint, what do you think the killing of Charlie Kirk says about just how divided this country is politically at this moment?
Yeah, echoing what others have said, we don't know what the motive of the shooter is at this point, but I think a lot of us are assuming it is politically motivated because of just what we've seen in recent history. If you go back to the shootings in Minnesota in June, or what happened in Colorado earlier this summer, or of course the fire at the home of the governor of Pennsylvania, Governor Shapiro, not to mention the assassination attempts on Donald Trump. This has become the new normal for too many folks. And folks who are in this space like Charlie Kirk, who wrestle with these issues, who engage in these type of debates in public spaces, are unfortunately really taking a risk in a climate where we no longer are comfortable just disagreeing and sparring back and forth with our intellect and our facts, where too many of us feel confident engaging in violence instead. So I think it's, unfortunately, another one of many examples which we have to cover of the ways in which American culture is leaning toward this more violent, anti-democratic direction. So I think it's really a sad moment for our politics to see things like this.
Yeah, I think everyone will agree with you on that. But why do you think it is, Nolan, that we have seen this sort of shift? I mean, there's always been political disagreements, right? But it seems that more often some are really confronting those disagreements with violence.
Absolutely. Historically, humans have unfortunately dealt with disagreement through violence. That's why democracy is a really radical idea. It's a peaceful way of dealing with our conflicts and differences. And I would wager that as more and more people seemingly turn to violence or outside of the system, it's their way of saying they don't think the system works anymore. And I think those of us who believe in the system, or those of us who work within the system, need to do a better job of convincing people through action that the system is working. So these types of alternatives are no longer the norm.
We're obviously seeing politicians weighing in on what unfolded today, and we're seeing people from both parties or across the political spectrum condemning the killing of Charlie Kirk here. Do you think there's any chance that a moment like this can be a turning point for the country, where you sort of have people across the political spectrum coming together to try to tone down this politically charged environment?
I think that there's always a chance, and we should remain hopeful, and we should remember that democracy, as Jefferson called it, is the American experiment. This is an experiment. We're figuring this out, meaning we need to work hard to strengthen our democracy so it doesn't go down in violence. And it's nice that a lot of politicians are turning out now, and I think from what I've read and seen so far, mostly saying the right thing. But we need to make sure that is the norm moving forward. We can't let folks politicize deaths like this. So I highly encourage the audience not to, subscribe to or spend too much time listening to or vote for folks who would politicize things like this. We need to take this more serious. This is a citizen of our country, and we need to act as such.
Yeah, first and foremost, this is a 31-year-old man who leaves behind a wife and 2 young children. All right, Nolan Higdon, always a pleasure. Thanks again for joining us today.
Thank you.
And stay with